Let's talk DeMeco. I love DeMeco Ryans. I think he still should be a head coach, even though they lost this game. And honestly, the defense played well. But here's my issue with DeMeco, and it's the same critique I always had for Robert Saleh. I used to tell Robert Saleh this to his face. Robert Saleh and I are not friends, but friendly, and he would actually listen to criticism. And I would tell him, man, Robert, I don't understand how you can lose to a team with one offensive weapon. He used to lose to like Devontae Adams or T.Y. Hilton. It's like a team with no one else you got to worry about. One guy goes for 150 and a touchdown or two, and you lose. Like, come on, man. I understand you want to be sound on defense with your coverages and stuff, but if you're going against a team with one threat, just one threat, and then not one threat, you got to have 8 different ways that you double this dude and take him out of the game. Like the Niners, you can't do that to Debo, because if you do that, then Kittle will beat you and Ayuk could beat you. But this team, it was just A.J. Brown. Julio Jones was nowhere. I never heard of the other receivers on the team. It was just A.J. Brown. And the fact that there was no bracket, nothing that DeMeco could go to. There should have been 8 different ways that they could double him, but there was nothing that worked. And that's a problem to me. It's the same problem that Robert Saleh has. And I have the highest respect for both of these guys.
Yeah, I feel like for Saleh, he's one of those guys where he would say, I have confidence in my guys. You know, like that. He
and our scheme, and our system.
Right.
It's like, nah, man, you got to ditch your system and make an adjustment to shut down a weak opponent with one good weapon. One good weapon really shouldn't be that hard.
Flexible. That is his biggest, that's my biggest knock on DeMeco. I cannot stand how narrow-minded he is sometimes. He's one-track-minded. He has a game plan. Mm-hmm. There were times I'm like, why don't you dial up more pressure on Tannehill? He is a bit mobile. He's a lot more mobile than our quarterback. But just sitting there letting one of the most accurate passers of our time have the time that he did in the pocket and not dial up some help for Nick Bosa. I couldn't stand that game plan. I really couldn't. The individual 49ers players on defense, they played well. Most of the time, they really did play well, but they got no help from their defensive coordinator. And Ambry Thomas on Brown, he had some great plays. He really did. His first pass breakup, he never turned his head, but he didn't interfere with the ball either. He waited for the receiver's eyes to trigger that the ball was inbounds. And as soon as he saw the motion of the receiver, he went. But the point is, you can't do that all game. And eventually, A.J. Brown wins a 50-50 ball, as he should, honestly. And just the lack of adaptability from DeMeco Ryans, DeMeco's got to get on that. He's got to realize, look, this is what I have. This is my game plan. It works in the first quarter, the second quarter. But as the game goes on, they're making adjustments. All offenses make adjustments. Why doesn't the defense?
A.J. Brown had 16 targets. That can't happen. I mean, it'd be one thing if Julio Jones was. It'd be one thing if Julio Jones was. It'd be one thing if Julio Jones was fully healthy and there was like Derrick Henry on the field too and a tight end. Like the Niners have like an array of weapons, but that's not what Tennessee had. They had A.J. Brown, and you knew he was the only way they were going to convert those third downs. So what you got to do is force Tannehill to say he's covered. They got bump and run coverage with inside leverage. They got a safety right over the top. I can't go there. I have to throw. I can't target him 16 times. I got to target other people. You got to do that. And I like the Titans, you can't do that to the 49ers because they have 3 or 4 weapons that'll kill you. But the Titans didn't in that game. And, the Niners lost to the Colts earlier this year who had Michael Pittman. The Niners lost to the Packers this year who had Devontae Adams. Any team that has this one wide receiver that's elite, the Niners aren't going to do anything special to take him away, which is too bad because it's doable.
I think the 49ers are one of the best equipped teams to take away a single wide receiver, and this is why. A.J. Brown is really strong, so he's a problem. He's much stronger than most of the receivers. He's an almost DK Metcalf-style body as far as what we face. Ambry Thomas, he doesn't look like it. He looks so lanky and small, but
he's a rookie.
He's quite strong.
Yeah.
If there's one thing he excels at, it's the line of scrimmage. Use him to just, as you say, bump and run. Clip the receiver as he's going by. You have people like Fred Warner who can take crossing routes, that can shadow him, that can spy underneath. You have someone like Jimmy Ward, Jaquiski Tart, who, if they take the assignments or if you have a second cornerback and they trade assignments, there's just so many ways to make sure that none of A.J. Brown's receptions go over 12 yards.
Right.
And that's and if you look at the end of the game, that would have helped. It would have expired the clock. It's a war of attrition. The Niners didn't manage the clock well in that game at all. They gave time away and they conserved time for the Titans. It was just terrible coaching when it comes to that.
If you put a man lock on him with inside leverage to take away the quick release, in breaking slants and stuff like that, and play 2 deep safeties, 3 deep safeties, you could play zone coverage with a man lock. I mean, there's so many different things you can do to pretty much make the quarterback look at A.J. Brown and say, man, he's just really, really not. I mean, that's Titans did that with Kittle all game. They were really making Jimmy Garoppolo, I can't throw to Kittle. He's not open. He's not. 3 targets for Kittle. They basically, and that's Vrabel. Vrabel comes from the Bill Belichick coaching tree, which is we're not really married to a scheme. We're very opponent specific. We're going to assess what they're doing and then take away their fastball. And in this game, they decided that they were not going to let George Kittle beat them. So Deebo Samuel had a big game, and that was there was nothing they could do about that. That was the bargain they made. But they consciously took George Kittle out, and the Niners responded by not throwing him the freaking ball. There's nothing to – anyway, I don't want to beat up DeMeco too much because they only gave up 20 points.
Always be team specific.